This powerful story of fear, judgment, and unexpected redemption can be visually captured in 4 key moments. Each image would evoke emotion, tension, realization, and ultimately, liberation. Below are detailed prompts to generate these scenes. In a cinematic, evocative style, the bus was crowded, the air thick with the scent of rain and damp coats. Ava clutched her bag tighter, scanning for an empty seat. The only one left was beside a man whose appearance made her hesitate. His clothes were worn, his face lined with scars, and his eyes carried a weight she couldn't name. She almost turned away, but pride wouldn't let her stand for the entire ride. Sinking into the seat, she kept her body angled away, her gaze fixed out the window. Minutes passed in silence, then, just loud enough for only her to hear, he spoke. "You're still running." Ava stiffened. "Excuse me." His voice was rough but gentle. "You tense up when men get too close. You keep your keys between your fingers when you walk at night. And you refuse to sit next to strangers, especially ones who look like me." Her throat tightened. How could he know? Then he said the words that shattered her. "I was there that night, in the alley, 3 years ago." Ava's breath stopped. The memory crashed over her, the hands grabbing her, the voice hissing threats, the paralyzing terror, and then a shout, a struggle, the sound of someone fighting for her before she could even scream. She had never seen her rescuer's face. By the time she turned, he was gone, and so was her attacker, the man beside her. Exhaled slowly. "I didn't stick around because I had a past I was running from too. But I've carried your fear with me ever since, wondering if you made it out okay." Tears burned her eyes. This stranger, this scarred, weathered man had been her shadow, a protection, and she had judged him the moment she saw him. Ava reached out, gripping his calloused hand. "Thank you," she whispered. He gave a small, tired smile. "You don't have to run anymore." And for the first time in years, she believed it. The bus rumbled on, but the world around Ava had gone still. The man, her stranger, her unseen protector, looked down at her hand clutching his expression unreadable. "You remember that night?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He nodded, his gaze distant. "Couldn't forget it if I tried." Ava swallowed hard. "The police never found the man who attacked me. They said there was no evidence, no witnesses." A bitter smile touched his lips. "Yeah, that's 'cause I made sure he wouldn't hurt anyone else." Her breath hitched. "What do you mean?" The bus lurched to a stop, and the overhead lights flickered, casting shadows across his face. For the first time, she noticed the jagged scar running down his neck, a wound that had never fully healed. He leaned closer, his voice low. "That guy wasn't just some random predator. He was a trafficker, and after what he tried to do to you, I made it my business to end his." Ava's pulse roared in her ears. You killed him?" He didn't flinch. "I did what the law wouldn't." Silence stretched between them. She should have been afraid. She should have pulled away. But instead, she felt something she hadn't. In years' relief, "You saved me twice," she murmured. "Once that night, and again just now." He frowned. "How?" "Because I've spent every day since then looking over my shoulder, waiting for him to come back, and now I know he never will." The man exhaled slowly, as if a weight had been lifted from him, too. "Guess we both needed this talk." Ava hesitated, then asked the question burning inside her. "What's your name?" He studied her for a long moment before answering. "Daniel." She smiled faintly. "Thank you, Daniel." The bus screeched to its final stop. Daniel stood, adjusting his jacket. "You gonna be all right?" Ava looked out the window at the city lights, bright and unafraid. "Yeah," she said. "I think I finally am." And as she watched him disappear into the night, she realized something. She was no longer a victim. She was free. Ava didn't expect to see Daniel again, but fate had other plans. 2 weeks later, she spotted him outside a coffee shop, his broad shoulders hunched against the morning chill. Before she could second-guess herself, she called out his name. He turned, surprise flickering across his face, then something warmer when he recognized her. "You look different," he said. Ava felt different. The nightmares had stopped. She no longer jumped at shadows. "I quit my job," she blurted out. "I'm going back to school to study criminal justice." Daniel's eyebrows shot up. "That's so?" "Yeah. After what you told me, I realized I don't want to just be someone who survives. I want to be someone who fights." A slow grin spread across his face. "Well, I'll be damned." Over steaming cups of coffee, the real conversation began. Daniel spoke in fragments years spent in the military, a dishonorable discharge after punching an officer who turned a blind eye to abuse, a decade drifting between odd jobs and darker work. I'm not a good man, Ava, he said finally. She stirred her coffee. Good men don't always wear white hats. The silence that followed was comfortable. When they parted this time, it was with a promise to meet again next week, and the week after. 1 year later, Ava stood in the courthouse holding to things, her freshly minted paralegal certificate, and Daniel's hand. The scarred warrior beside her squeezed her fingers as the district attorney described their new victim advocacy program. Turns out, Daniel whispered in her ear, we both needed saving that day on the bus. Ava smiled, watching sunlight stream through the courtroom windows. Some battles end in blood. Some end in quiet whispers, and some, the best ones, never end at all, but turn into something new. The courtroom erupted in applause as the judge approved. Their first case, a teenage runaway whose story mirrored Ava's in ways that made her chest ache. Outside, spring blossoms swirled on the wind like confetti. Daniel's thumb brushed the inside of Ava's wrist, a silent question. She answered by lacing their fingers together. Remember when I wouldn't even sit next to you? His laugh rumbled like distant thunder. To be fair, I did look like a serial killer. You were a killer, only of monsters. He turned her hand over, tracing the lifeline. Turns out my war wasn't over after all. Just needed the right reason to keep fighting. Ava brought their joined hands to her lips. The scars on his knuckles tasted like salt and second chances. 5 years later, the brass plaque on their office door reads, Black and Thorn, Victim Advocacy and Protective Services. The E fell off during installation. They never replaced it. When new clients ask why a former soldier and an assault survivor opened the firm together, Daniel just smiles. Ava tells the truth, because some angels wear combat boots, and some miracles come disguised as scars. This story was never about trauma. It was about the moment a broken woman and a battle-worn man realized their jagged edges fit together into something unbreakable. May we all find our unlikely warriors. May we all become someone else's miracle.